All right, so we're moving on to multiplying with decimals, except for now, we're dealing with decimals that are greater than 1. And we'll talk about how that's going to affect what our product is or our answer. But first, let's do a warm-up, and let's review some multiplying by whole numbers. For this first box here, we have 4 times 4/10, and that's going to give me 16, but this is one place value, so it gives me 1.6. Now we have 4 times 3/100, and this is going to give me 12. That's actually going to give me 12/100. And if we have 1 6/10 plus 12/100, that's going to give us 1 72/100. So again, the warm-up is intended just to kind of show us and remind us how to do that. Okay, so let's get to the actual notes. They start on page 335. And for this first example, it says Jaden made a rectangular sign that's 1 4/10 meters long and 1 2/10 meters wide to post on the wall of the store. How many square meters of wall does the sign cover? So for this, we're going to set up our problem like this. Now both of these factors, both of these numbers we're multiplying are greater than 1. So our answer is going to be bigger than what we started with. So let's start with regular multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. Put our placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Let me add all these up. 8, 6, and 1. So as you remember, we can look at whatever decimal place values we have in our factors to figure out where to put our decimal point in our final answer. And this says we've got to go over 2. So I will go over 2. And our answer is 1 68/100 meters. Okay. Let's turn the page. So for these, again, I don't want to steer away from this traditional way to do things because it gets a little complicated, but you can use an area model. It shows how you can break down your 2 decimals into whole number parts and decimal parts. That's one possibility. And just add them up just like we did in the warm-up. The other example is you could do partial products. And that's another way to do our multiplication. But we've kind of moved beyond this part, and there's a lot of transference here. So I don't recommend this way either. But you'll notice that they get you all the same answer. Okay, so we're going on to the next page. All right, to solve the problem, you need to find 1 4/10 times 1 2/10. Estimate the area of the wall that the sign will cover. So estimating, especially with decimals, might involve some rounding. I know 1.4, that rounds to 1, and 1.2, that rounds to 1. So if we do 1 times 1, our answer is going to be near 1. And we know after doing the example on the first page that we ended up with 1 68/100 meters. So we're close. The area model, let's see what we would have gotten if we did the area model way. We would have gotten 1, we would have gotten 2/10, we would have gotten 4/10, and we would have gotten 8/100 here. And if we added all those up together, of course, we would get our 1 68/100. But number 3, look at model it. How do the partial products relate to the area model above? The partial products equal the 4 sections of the area model specifically. So each of these boxes is the same as the partial products to show that they are very similar ways to find the answer. Both picture and model show that 1 4/10 and 1 2/10 equal 168/100. What is the area of the sign written as decimal? We know that's 1 68. hundredths square meters. Speaking of that, I should make a note. Have this be square meters since we're doing meter times meter. All right, so moving on, it says explain what you know about the product when you multiply tenths by tenths. If you multiply a tenth by a tenth, the product will be hundredths. Is the product of 1 4/10 and 1 2/10 greater than or less than 1 2/10? It's greater than, because you are multiplying by a number greater than 1. Greater than 1. Okay. As always, you can skip 7. And let's go to the examples on the back of the page. Okay. First things first, let's not even bother with the area model for this. It has its place, but not for us at this point. Let's find 4/10 times 1 8/10. So the order doesn't matter. Just in the habit of putting the first one as top factor. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 0 is 0, but that 3 gives me that. Put a placeholder 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 0 is 0. All right, so I got 2, 7, and I got my 0 here. So the last step is very important. You got to figure out where to put that decimal point. So I've got 2 decimal place values there. So I'm going to come over to, and our final answer is 72 hundredths. All right, let's go on to 9. Rosa filled her car's tank with 9 8/10 gallons of gas. Each gallon cost $3.85. How much did Rosa spend on gas? Show your work. So let's put her price, and this is how many gallons she got. And let's do the math, and then worry about the decimal points later. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 8 is 64, plus 4 is 8. 68, excuse me. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 6 is 30. Placeholder there, 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 8 is 72, and I'm doing 76, all right? 9 times 3 is 27, and plus 7 is 34. I've got 0, I've got 13, I've got 7, 7, and 3. I've got 2 decimal places and 1 decimal place. That's 3 total. So I go 1, 2, and 3. And this will equal $37.73. That's how much she spent on gas. All right, one more. One more problem. All right, so what is the product of 2 8/10 and 9 5/10? All right, let's write it out. Okay, 2 8/10, 9 5/10. That's 40. That's 10. That's 14. All right, cross it out. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 7 is 25. Let's add these up. 0, 6, 6, and 2. All of these over here, you'll notice, have those combination numbers. So this is a lot like yesterday's IXL. So we got to be careful in finding out what this is. So I've got 2 decimal places, 26.6, and that will be option D. All right. All right, your classwork for today is going to be I-16 multiply 2 decimals, products up to hundredths. You will have to do these on a separate sheet of paper. You're not really going to have the option to do this one in your head. You're going to have to actually work the problems out. Work up to 70 to get full credit for this lesson.